I first worked for them in 1962, and I hadn't been to drama school at all then. I worked for Unity Theatre, which was an amateur professional theatre, and I met a girl there who'd just graduated from drama school, and she'd just got a job with Theatre Centre. And I said, oh, we were talking about it, and she said, well, why don't you write? And I said, oh, I haven't been to drama school. She said, well, just write and see if you can get in, have an audition. And I got in, which was the most amazing thing. And it was wonderful. It was a great learning experience for me. And I couldn't believe that I was getting money in my hot little hand to do something that I'd been dreaming about for so long. You know, it was wonderful. And Brian was very inspirational, and the whole thing was great. And I toured for about 2 years. And then I did Pinocchio at the Lyceum Theatre. But when we did Pinocchio there, it hadn't been a theatre for so long. I mean, it was very famous because in the Victorian, pre-Victorian even, it was the home of Henry Irving and Ellen Terry and people like that. And so it was a dance hall, in fact. So we did the matinees of Pinocchio and then had to strike everything, really heavy wails and all sorts of things, get rid of all of that, ready for the dancing in the evening. And that was fun, but I was much younger then. The very first play I did was an infant play, and it was called The Wheel, which Brian had written, and it was about the different things that go up to making a wheel and the support that it gave and things. And I was a spoke in that wheel, and I can remember my glamorous costume. It was red tights with a purple tunic. Can't remember what was on my head, but it was something. And during the course of this play, I had to hide in a box, a huge box, and suddenly spring out at the right moment. And just before this, the story was that they'd asked the children to be sailors or pirates and have a battle. So who wants to be a sailor? Yes, you know, all of this. Pirates, yes, 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 yes. So they all got half a dozen of each. And then they started to fight with imaginary swords and this, that, and the other, and cries. And then Brian was very good, the way he constructed plays, that when that sort of action finished, when they wanted, the story went on, and whoever was there said, right, yeah, the sailors have won, pirates go back there, sailors, you cheer, and all of this. And there was one little boy who did not want to finish the fight, and he was still imagining he was fighting. He was a pirate and he was fighting a sailor. You know, and they couldn't get him to sit down, and he was there for ages and they couldn't stop him, and he had this wonderful imagination like children have doing that, you know, and it was amazing. But they were all laughing like mad. The teachers were laughing, the children were all sort of like this, and the actors couldn't stop corpsing. And I thought, when's my cue coming? I want to get out of this box, you know. So I suddenly flung open the box and was confronted by all these red-faced actors who couldn't control themselves, and I immediately just fell back into the box. You know, I couldn't control myself. But we had to write reports, and we didn't write that on the report, because Brian, and particularly Margaret, wouldn't have approved, you know, actors laughing too much. But it was a great time, and I just saw so much of the country as well, you know. And it's a lot different now, I'm sure, because it was all very, sort of very seat of your pants time in a way. It was all quite well organised, but, you know, there was none of this sort of, we had to do the washing by hand, because you couldn't pay out money for a laundrette, and we had to iron the costumes all the time, even if you were a witch or something, you know, you had to have it. And it was a terrible thing if, you know, the girls were always fusing the iron and things like that. And, oh, what will we say? Can we had to buy a new iron, whatever. So it was one of those. But we were all very young, you know, and the least little thing was a bit of a worry.